This would be a heck of a win for the Sixers. Tyrese. Oh, my goodness!
Very happy to talk with Sixers television play-by-play voice, Kate Scott. Kate, it is so wonderful to see you once again. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, and it's really good to see Tyrese Maxey draining threes. I mean, got to see him earlier today, cup practice over in Camden, and really looking forward to year 4 of Tyrese Maxey. But great to be back with you, Chet.
Hope there's a lot more of that for sure.
Me too.
I know you had a very busy off season. We will talk about that in just a bit, but another Sixers season is fast approaching, a season that's starting with a little bit of drama in addition to a new head coach. Talking, of course, about James Harden. He is practicing with the team. That's good. Will he be on the court when the season begins, October 26th?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I know this is only year 3 for me, Chet, but I'm starting to think that drama and Philly, or just, storylines that other people are paying attention to, is just going to be par for the course. That's my thought. See, James is like, what's new? Come on, this is just another season of Kate and Philly. But I think you touched on the most important thing right now. I don't know. None of us have any idea if James is going to be here for the start of the season. If he is, how long he'll be here during the season. But the important thing is that he came to training camp, that he was a participant in training camp. I mentioned I was at practice earlier today. He was at practice running through everything. So the fact that he's here, despite whatever is going on behind the scenes, and that he is locked in and a part of things and not causing a disruption as some folks expected he might because of things that were said during the offseason, because of things that have happened in the past. So that's really good for me to see, because I think the most interesting part of this, I know this is a business, and I know that anything can happen in pro sports, but I just keep coming back to it. I was at every practice and shoot around I could be last year, and he and the guys get along. Like, they were having a really good time, and that is not always the case in pro sports. I know you got your Philly stuff behind you. I mean, we see it with the Phillies, we see it with the Birds. Hopefully we're going to see it with the Flyers, we see it with the Union, but I'm of the mind that that stuff matters, that you want to play that much harder for guys that you really enjoy being around. And the guys really enjoy being around James. So not sure what's going to happen, but hope that whatever does, that it goes well for him and the Sixers.
Well, we know everybody loves to be around Tyrese Maxey, who we saw right at the top. And boy, he has progressed year after year. A lot of folks, though, wonder if he can be a true point guard if needed, if there is no James Harden. So I'll ask you, Kate, is Tyrese ready to take yet another big step if called upon?
Yeah, I think, Chet, that he is going to be. I mean, we saw last year that he looked like he'd put on a little more strength, a little more muscle from year 2 going into year 3. And it looks like the same thing has happened this offseason, now coming into year 4. And that was the challenge that Nick Nurse issued to him when he was hired back before the offseason really started. He said, yeah, Tyrese is an amazing scorer. He needs to get better at playmaking, and then he's going to be unstoppable. And he worked out a lot with Joel this offseason, which is really where the playmaking starts here in Philly, right? If you can feed the beast, if you can feed the big man, then everything else is going to get easier and fall into place. And again, have only known him now going on 3 years, but if anybody is up to the challenge and loves constructive criticism and wants to lean into that and get better, it's Tyrese Maxey. And I think we all forget, like, he started off last season really well and then got injured and missed over a month of the season. And I don't know how good he might have been had that not happened. So yeah, really excited and expecting him to take another step this year.
Well, you mentioned Joel, the big guy in the middle. He finally got that MVP award last year, but unfortunately it didn't bring any playoff success with it. Yet another second-round exit for the team. Is there something Embiid can maybe do better in terms of leadership to help get the Sixers deeper into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think there always is. I think when you're a leader and you don't get to where you want to go, which for the Sixers is at least the Final Four, right? The Eastern Conference Finals, and then hopefully into the finals and winning that championship, I think there's always more that you can do. And I think Joel is figuring that out, because I think something that maybe we don't talk about enough in all sports is that guys can be phenomenal athletes, just top tier talents. But leadership is a different thing entirely, and it doesn't come as naturally to some players and athletes as it does others. So I think Joel is still learning exactly what it means to be not just a leader through his play, but through his actions and his words. And I saw growth in that area last year, so I'm expecting more of it this season.
Well, since the season ended, Tobias Harris did not get traded. He'll be back.
Correct.
Paul Reed got paid. He'll be back. And the Sixers also acquired guard Patrick Beverly, center Mo Bamba. Danny Green is back for a second stint.
Yeah.
And more recently, Kelly Oubre signed a 1-year deal. Some pretty decent depth, I would think. Do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's one of the things I'm one of the people who loves to be the hunter and not the hunted. So I love the fact that nobody is talking about the Kelly Oubre Jr. signing right now. Everybody, understandably, is talking about the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics and the moves they just made. But I'm with you. I mean, at Media Day last week and ripping through my lineup right now, getting ready for the home preseason opener and being at practice today, I was thinking to myself, they picked up a lot of good dudes. Like, I've always hated Patrick Beverly on other teams because, right, he's that gnat. He's that just annoying defensive presence who you're pissed off at, but he's doing everything legally. He's just playing his butt off, and you're just pissed that he's getting in your grill and stopping one of your star players from doing something. There was a fun moment earlier today when DeAnthony Melton and Danny Green were going at it. It's easy to forget DeAnthony came here because of that draft day trade that sent Danny to Memphis because he wasn't going to play last year. So it's fun to see those two guys going at it. You mentioned Mo Bamba. He had one of his best nights ever as a pro here in Philly a couple of years ago. So he's one of those guys kind of looking for a fresh start. Have really loved his attitude. So there's a lot of interesting pieces that nobody's talking about right now. I get it. They're not the huge splashes that a couple other teams have made. But again, it's all about how these guys fit together, how they stay healthy, and crazier things have happened, right? So I'm excited to see how these guys over the next number of months, I know it's not going to be easy at the start, but how they over the next number of months fit those puzzle pieces together.
Well, another new piece is the head coach, Nick Nurse. Yeah. What do you know about Nick Nurse as far as how he's going to be in control of this 76ers squad?
Yeah, well, again, just first practice today, but the energy and the movement just during practice was quite different than it has been the past couple of years. Really upbeat, really energetic. A DJ throughout practice, playing specific things at specific times, sound effects when they were going 5-on-5, running up the floor, depending on what happened, whether it was a deflection, whether it was an offensive rebound. So really high energy and just go, go, go the whole time through practice. Really lets his assistants help out with things, but then when he needs to, blows the whistle and he's in charge. And he wrote a book a couple years ago after, unfortunately, Toronto did what they did. And I read it.
I like that.
Yeah. And I'm reading it again, but I mean, he had to work his ass off to get here, right? I mean, he played at a small college. He did not have anybody in the industry who was going to give him a leg up. He coached in the British Basketball League for 20 plus years. He had to grind to get here. So he has seen everything. He got a PhD in sports psychology a couple of years ago because he realized this game is a lot different than when I was playing, and really have to understand the mental side of this because these guys are so different. You can't just scream and yell at guys and throw basketballs at them anymore, right? It's 2023. That doesn't work. So I'm really excited. And he was the one I was hoping the Sixers would hire because out of all the coaches that were being considered, he frustrated Joel Embiid the most. Yeah. So anytime you have somebody getting in your star player's head, I want that guy to be on our team, right? Kind of the same thing with Patrick Beverly. So I'm really excited. He seems really down to earth, but very detail-oriented, very focused, and obviously very set on winning.
Cool. Well, Kate, some people take it easy during the summer, vacations, backyard pool, whatever.
What's that? What's easy?
Not you. Nope. You took on a couple of new short-term jobs.
Yeah.
Women's World Cup games, you called those, and Seattle Seahawks preseason football, to wit, right here.
Greer firing, intercepted at the goal line. Trey Brown bringing it out for Seattle. What a play by number 22.
And yes, I intentionally picked something bad happening in the Dallas Cowboys.
Which I love. I mean, I think I might have told you when we chatted last year, but I grew up hating the Cowboys, and I love that I have landed in another place that hates the Cowboys. So it's felt really natural.
So how was it, though? You went from Women's World Cup in July and the beginning of August right into Seattle Seahawks preseason football. Yeah. I believe you worked with Mark Schlereth. Is that right?
Worked with Mark Schlereth, on our last game and it was weird for me calling him that, but that's what everybody was like, Stink, walking into Lambeau with him was so much fun because folks were so excited to see him because obviously he's been in NFL circles for years as a player and now a great analyst. But yeah, that was our last game at Lambeau. And then Michael Robinson and Michael Bennett, who were a couple of their stars when they won the Super Bowl a decade ago. And Michael Robb now doing some Big Ten stuff for NBC Sports. So I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of him, the Penn State star. But it was amazing and wonderful. I mean, those were both, especially the Women's World Cup. Soccer was the sport I played growing up. I was behind the Rose Bowl net where Brandy Chastain scored the PK to win the World Cup back in 1999. So that was a dream come true. And I love calling football, and preseason is a great way to get your toe back in that doesn't conflict with the Sixers. And, the Seahawks are a team I grew up hating too, but when it's a job offer and a paycheck and a chance to continue growing as a broadcaster, you say, heck yeah, and dive in. And they're another great organization who welcomes me with open arms. And as we were talking about last year, I get bored really easily. And I think calling all the different sports just makes you think about a sport like basketball slightly different and helps with your calls. I think they all inform each other. So I think it was maybe in retrospect, should have taken a few more days at the pool, as you said, but I think it was really helpful off season. And as a result, I'm looking to take another big step this year in my Sixers calls when things tip off very soon.
All right, let's finish up with a little game of 3 and out. 3 questions, 3 very quick answers. Do you still use those blue sticky notes in your preparation for Sixers game?
I do. And I love that. That's a great freeze frame that you got there, Chet. And I do still use my colored pens. And I know that Kevin Harlan and some other guys use the pen that has the 4 different colors at the top. But you can tell we're playing the Celtics because I got my green pen out. So that's just how my brain has always seen things, by color. And it helps me remember something that much faster.
Very nice. Number 2, when Cleveland Cavaliers' George Niang makes a big shot against the Sixers, how will you call it?
Yes, I have already discussed this with Ala. We think there will be one bang bang George Niang, and then it will be followed by, now please don't do that again, G, until you get to your next game. But all of us are so happy for him. I mean, no doubt that his time here in Philly helped him get that contract, and I love it when good guys get paid. And I think he's going to be a great fit in Cleveland. So looking forward to one bang bang, and that's it.
All right. And lastly, I saw the NBC 10 piece about 6 weeks ago, Clear the Shelters, story that featured you and your rescued pit bull. So I have to ask you, how is Piper doing?
Oh, Piper is great. She is currently locked upstairs so she doesn't bark or interrupt this interview, but she is wonderful. She is the one thing that gets me outside and off my butt and to stop prepping, because I could prep for 14 hours a day. I care so much about what I do and love it so much. I could be watching film and working on boards and stuff. I mean, I have all my notes right around here right now. Sixers training camp things. She has been, a lot of people say that pets, they impact your life sometimes more than you impact theirs. And I think that's totally true. She's been a great respite from the intensity of the basketball season. And she's looking forward to a great Sixers season too.
We all are. Can't wait to hear you back calling the games with Ala. It's going to be a fun year, interesting year, certainly. Follow her on what used to be Twitter. It's X now, Kate T. Scott. Kate, great to see you again.
Great to see you, Chet. Thanks for the time. Go Sixers.